I assume that you are new to streaming, and for some reason you have read somewhere that you need exactly this. This is the program you want to use. Maybe you want to conduct game streams, maybe you need to record a course, some kind of webinar, presentation. Just show something on the screen with your comments, make a video out of it, send it to someone. That's all about this we're going to talk about now. For beginners, and you will understand that it's okay, that it's all quickly possible to understand without stuffiness, and then, if you want to somehow get into the wilds, she already has other videos about it. I think downloading the OBS program was not a big problem for you, but just in case, I will leave a link in the description. And most likely when you first start, you will see here is the automatic configuration wizard window. If you suddenly closed it and want to show it again, this is the service item, the automatic configuration wizard. When it was just introduced into the FBS, this auto-tuning wizard, which was designed to help beginners, he set up a complete game. But now, in general, it is really possible to use it. I tested it, it's fun. And at this stage, especially if you are a beginner and do not understand anything about this program at all, you can really use the tips of this automatic configuration wizard. If you want to broadcast something live, choose the first item. If you want to record something for future editing, perhaps, or just there you will throw it as a video file to someone. Upload it somewhere, then choose this. In fact, it won't really matter what to choose from it. You won't break anything, it's just the initial settings. Just designed to help beginners figure it out and start doing at least something. We go further, and most likely you will not need to change anything here. The base resolution will be set automatically according to the size, according to the resolution of your desktop, according to the resolution of your main monitor. It is written correctly in the note. If anything, don't worry, then you can already broadcast or record in different resolutions, but more on that a little later. Set the purity of the frames to 60 if you are going to stream games, especially some first-person shooters. There, the smoothness of the picture and 60 frames per second looks very advantageous. If you record some presentations, broadcast some tables or are going to record, then 30 FPS will be enough for you. You don't need this smoothness, and you don't need an extra load on the hardware, you don't need an encoder. We go further, and since we chose at the beginning that we are primarily a streamer, yes, we are going to broadcast something live. Our creativity, games or whatever. With the help of OBS, you can strive for anything, if anything, any kind of creativity, any kind of content. Here you can choose the platform where you are going to stream. Twitch, YouTube, and so on. These are likely to be the most popular elections. If it is possible to connect an account, then it is, as written in parentheses, recommended. It will be more convenient this way, you will not need to worry about the broadcast keys. But if you suddenly stream to some sites that are not very popular, some niche ones, and so on, but that provide an opportunity to send a stream there and stream there, maybe these are some courses, yes, individual sites. Then most likely this site will provide you with a stream key, it will look like a long set of characters. It's okay, so you can aim anywhere, even for everything on Twitch, on YouTube and so on, for anything. You just need to get this stream key on the website, in the broadcast settings there. Now I have logged in with my account on Twitch, and you have logged in with any other account there, where you are going to stream them. YouTube there, Facebook, and so on. There is a huge list of platforms here. If you click Next, a bandwidth test will be performed, that is, a test of your internet. The server will be selected, but if you still have not chosen where you will stream, and you want to master this program, or you are not interested in streaming at all, you are just going to record a video here, then at the first stage. If you choose to optimize only for recording, I will not broadcast, then this item is not at all it will. It's the same here and everything. Click Apply Settings here and click in the lower right corner of the settings. But so far, we are not afraid of this number of settings for various audio outputs, and so on, and so on, and so on. Just in general, we put these ticks here. Show the confirmation window when the broadcast starts, show pauses of the broadcast. Same for the record. I think you understand that there is nothing worse than when you unexpectedly go on the air, you just accidentally pressed a button. And there the broadcast has already started. Either the recording was stopped, or they stopped their stream accidentally did not want to do it. A confirmation will be displayed there, and these ticks will save you from a bunch of mistakes. So that's it, I said that the stuffiness is ending, so we click OK, do not worry about other settings. And finally get acquainted with the program interface. Here is this black square, so far it is black, this is exactly the same canvas, the resolution of which we selected. In the automatic settings wizard, think of it as a landscape piece of paper on which you will draw everything that will appear in the future in this black square. Or instead of this black square, you will be able to record or broadcast to the internet. And it will be a live streaming of some kind of engine that is happening in you. Well, in order to actually start creating and filling in this Malevich rectangle somehow, here in the sources, we start adding any pictures here. Maybe you need to capture the screen, anything. Click this plus sign here, or right-click on this zone of sources to add, and here, respectively, you have a list here. What you can add. Guys, I'm from the future. I'm going to interrupt you for a minute to say that if you suddenly don't want to deal with this issue yourself, you need to quickly configure something for your task. Look at the settings there. Then I have paid consultations on the link in the description. You will find there a Google document with all the information. Depending on when you watch it, something may be added there. There are just ideas on how to implement some services. I'll do it all later, come up with it, organize it. But of course I don't want to be the person that every student can call there for 200 rubles. So that I set up the abs for him. I'm specifically talking about people who value their time, who want to do something faster. And maybe even want to implement something based on the abs. But some kind of podcast with several people, yes, with several microphones and so on. Abs is a fairly professional program. All this can be implemented. It is possible to implement it with a human director. There is a studio mode. A very powerful theme. You can really cut and record a huge amount of content and stream online and so on. If anything, right, we'll think about it, figure it out, decide, see what we can do. Well, we're going back to the videos. We are learning about it from scratch. 99% of the time, the basis of your content is likely to be something happening on a computer screen. It can be a game, it can be a window of some application in which you are working, or it will be a screen capture. As for the capture of the game, everything is clear. You launch some game, add a capture of the game, call it something. It's just for your convenience, if anything, so that you understand what it is. Click OK, and most likely you will not need to do anything here. The game will automatically pick up. The only thing I immediately recommend is one of these more advanced pieces, but you can see it in other videos, if anything. Limit the capture frequency to press, and that's it, press OK. Well, I completely forgot about those who play in the Steam, and maybe you want to see your points received on the screen and so on. Then click capture these third-party overlays. This is what we are talking about. And click OK. Now nothing has appeared yet, because we have not captured any game. We can delete all of this with the divides button, or with this basket here. Let's highlight what we need. Basket delete yes. Now consider window capture and screen capture. I think it's clear that this is necessary for those who want to show how it works in some application. Some tablets are filled in perhaps, and so on. Any kind of engine can be on the screen, and you need to somehow convey it. As for window capture, this is convenient when you need to show a separate window of some application, and not show the rest. Then you will be able to alt-tab into other windows, maybe reply to someone's private messages, and so on. But viewers will only see this window. Click capture window, call it a notepad window somehow, because in this example I will show. The name is again just for you, for your convenience. OK. And now we see that the notepad window is captured, it is selected. Here, of course, you can choose any window of your browser, your other software of some kind. Any window works, in this case it's a notepad. We don't touch everything else, just click OK. That's it, we got the window in the resolution, in which it is open for you. If you expand it to the full screen and stretch it, then here it will also stretch accordingly. And it is very important to understand that in this case, when you capture a window, you can position it as you like, anywhere. And if you make changes in it, then for example, let's say I need to like this. Well, this is my artistic solution. I start my work, and you see that everything changes here too. You can specifically work in this window, already show something, and everything will be on the broadcast as you have arranged. Let's say you well need that this is how it was right here. Most likely, it will still be inconvenient for someone. You need to show the whole screen, so as not to sweat, not to display different windows, not to fly back into the abs, and not switch between these windows. It is very convenient to use screen capture in this case. You also create a screen capture. It is better to get used to deleting the previous unnecessary source, so as not to breed garbage. And then not get confused in the sources. In the sources, adding a screen capture. If you have one monitor, there is nothing else to do here. You will immediately see the picture, but if you have a second monitor, then you can capture it, for example. This may be convenient for someone, for some designers. You have some information on one monitor, maybe a browser for personal correspondence there, but on this monitor, only some kind of creativity is already going on, and you only want it. That is, choose any monitor. By default it will be selected as the main one that you have, and that's it. Whether to capture the cursor or not is up to you to decide. Do you need you to point specifically with an arrow in the picture, show something, do something, so that it can be seen what you are doing? And that's it, you don't need to know anything else. Click OK. We have the basis of the content. In this case, we imagine that we will show our work in the abs. I hope you are not confused by this recursion, but at least most of you will need to add a webcam. The webcam we have is in the category of video capture devices. Also click the plus sign, the video capture device. We call it whatever you like, in this case it's a camera. Click OK and it opens, well, the only camera that is currently in the system. This is the 920 Logitech I have. And it is very important that most beginners do not do it. You need to specify the values here, non-standard device values. But custom ones? As you can see, I have such an almost square image now, although the VIP cameras give out an image. In a resolution of 1920 by 1080, that is, it should be 16 by 9. In the same format as this screen of mine with a full screen abs. Therefore, always in any case, you choose a custom one and indicate in the resolution. The resolution that you most likely have marketers placed on the VIP camera box. The maximum resolution that is possible. At the moment, it's 1920 by 1080. The camera supports exactly this as much as possible. You choose, and if you have chosen everything correctly, it is this resolution that is supported, a full format picture will appear. The quality will be maximum. Believe me, a huge number of people do not do this action, and do not understand why they have such a terrible quality. Something cropped image, if you stretch it to the full screen, then it's kind of soapy. But no, the camera can give out quite good quality to itself, it's just on the standard values of the device, well, it will look like some kind of garbage. Do you see what kind of soap? If I stretch it out, if I need to fill it all out, I want this scene, there hello, I'm shooting a course, today we're going to do macrame. And so what kind of soap is this? Yes, now. Or I change it to a custom one. Well, yes, now it's stretched back. Right away, by the way, the trick is how to solve this problem, right-click on the source, that you accidentally somehow changed the size there. Lost it, took it somewhere outside the screen, right-click convert, and reset the conversion. Now the quality is just indistinguishable from the soap that was, I think you understand. The only thing you will most likely need to do is go back to the sources. You can just double-click on it to go to the parameters, and also if there is something on the screen capture. If you need to change the monitor, yes, that's it, go to any source and its parameters with 2 clicks. Well, or this gear, click Properties, highlighting the desired one. The desired item, click Properties. With a cap, most likely you will need to play a little with colors, because, well, for example, on this camera. Here is the one on the left. Damn, I'm just confused. I'm kind of normal with a human complexion, but here I'm a little bit drowned, yellowish, kind of strange. You click the video settings and most likely you will need to remove the white balance, if anything, check the box. And somehow twist it either into colder colors, as you like, or into warmer some colors, to be more somehow filled with life. You may also have to touch the shutter speed. If you have an automatic check mark here, then you need to remove it and change it. On some webcams, these settings will not be available, on cheap ones, most likely, but there's nothing to do. So you will be dealing here, well, without settings, as the camera shows, so it will show. And now the most important magic will happen, because any source that we have added here to the list. We can scale anything for these red lines, or rather squares in the corners. That's how we can even twist it for this little circle, if we suddenly need to. Well, here I am an artist, I see it that way. That's it, that's the class. I think it's amazing. We're going to do it wrong, but like this, so that the corners are not visible. That's it. Brilliant. The artistic solution is simply God's. By the way, if you have done garbage, then you can cancel Ctrl-Z in the same way, everything according to actions. And also a very important trick, which for some reason people do not understand. I was asked, for example, how did you make such a narrow camera there? Maybe you turned the camera over or something, a VIP camera or something. Guys, any source. You can crop as you like by pressing the Alt button on the keyboard, and crop it as you need for the same borders. And this can be done with any source. That is, if we take a screen capture, and for example, we don't want to show the right part of it there. We don't need these buttons here. We can trim it all and arrange it already cropped as you like. Accordingly, you can see along this line that a green dotted line is cut off here. This is very convenient, and it can be done with all the pictures. Let's say I just need to show me specifically right now, so that I don't really close something from the interface there and do it like this. Yes, as I'm actually writing it down now, yes, approximately. That is, this is how it happens. That's how I did it. Here is my scene of some kind of tutorial on abs, roughly speaking. Now you probably don't understand how I write it down, but believe me, you don't need to know it now, otherwise your head will explode. And then, when you have done the basics, most likely you will want to add something else here. That is, look, it can be text, you can also name it as you like, enter some text, choose fonts here, choose font size. Do anything, but I chose too small, I want 48. Let's say this is the text. Let's say I have it right here. You can add any image here, any picture with a transparent background, an ordinary picture, it doesn't matter. Click the image, OK, somehow call the review, and choose the file you need. Let's say this is such an oboina. Here is a little not the size of my screen, so I can somehow change it. Move it as I specifically want. I want some more pictures. For example, I have prepared this image with a transparent background. It's like me, if anything, in this cartoon style. You can also twist and turn it all. If suddenly I don't need it so much, I can cut it all off. And so you can do with any source. I repeat, for some reason it was not obvious to many, and if you immediately understand this and realize your capabilities, then I think it will be useful to you. It looks kind of cool. We added a beautiful picture like this to the full screen, but we blocked everything that was before, everything that we added. Our VIP camera, the program interface. Where can I get it now? The thing is that this list of sources, literally, needs to be perceived as a sandwich. What is on top, it will be in the foreground accordingly. And if suddenly something with the size of a full screen is higher than our camera and screen capture, then accordingly it will block everything. So just with the mouse we take our image and take it below, between the camera and the screen capture. Now we have a camera. Perhaps we need to put this image somewhere lower too. Let's do it like this. Now it overlaps these letters here and fi. Let's do what we typed under the letters. Op. Or use the arrows, by the way, these. If you don't understand, it's not particularly visible there. Use the arrows to move a specific source through the layers. That is, hop, here is now behind the letters, now in front of the letters. This is very important to understand, especially when your scene grows, you will have many sources. A lot of people in the future are likely to face the problem that they do not see something. And they do not understand why something does not work. First of all, this is due to alerts. We will talk about this a little later. This is an alert about any events on the stream. Perhaps a donation, perhaps a subscription, and so on. And people don't understand why it doesn't work. Because most likely they had this subscription in layers under, for example, the gameplay, under the program picture. Or maybe under the camera, under some other picture. Immediately get used to the fact that these are layers, like in Photoshop, like some kind of cake, it doesn't matter. Get used to it, do you understand what's going on? The lowest screen capture, then there is an image of this with the moon, then there is the camera. Accordingly, if you need to see the screen capture, then we either hide the image so that it does not exist. With this little eye, we can hide any source, and now we have a program interface. Or we stick the image below, well, then it is not visible, there is no sense in it. But to understand the essence of these sources, it's quite a normal example. And then I recommend that you already study for yourself what you can add here. For example, a slideshow so that you can add several images. You specify there in milliseconds how much they will change. Here is the time between the slides of 800, and you throw files here, either a folder at once, or files separately, or a folder. And you will have here instead of one image to change after a certain number of milliseconds of the picture. You can also add a media source. This is literally an opportunity to add a video clip, and also with it any of these manipulations that we did with the camera. With the picture there, more or less, and so on. All this can be done with a video clip. Adding it from your hard drive. It won't appear right away, you need to click OK, and now it has appeared. This is my clip of me running around here, playing a game, throwing a canister, and hitting it with a hard drive. Bam! Beauty in my opinion. Let's say I need it broadcast, but I need it like this somehow. That's it. The file has stopped, by the way. Again, we go into it, click the repeat checkmark, and also read these checkboxes here to restart playback when the source becomes active. If suddenly, for example, I need to hide this source, and then show it at the right moment. I want it to restart from the beginning, when it becomes active. Active means that's when it becomes visible. I press and it will be played from the very beginning. I can do anything with him again. Let's say so. Oh, I accidentally touched the back wallpaper. By the way, they can be locked if anything, just like that, and that's it. You don't move them in any way anymore, so that you don't accidentally move something. I can do the same with this video. Instead of a camera, at least I'll put it right here, so I'll cut it off as I like. That's it, beauty. Op 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 op. That's, well, perfect. It repeats itself with me. All this is an image, this is part of my content, too, in the corner I want like this. Everything, in my opinion, is amazing. Although okay, at least let it be not my face, but what is happening in the center, as something that was clear. I think the sources have been sorted out. Now you need to understand what scenes are. The fact is that this is the location of the elements you may need to change constantly in the broadcast. There is a full-screen VIP camera, and so on. You don't need to always op with the viola clamped down to stretch it all. By the way, guys, let's talk in full screen. This is the scene we're going to do. Let's talk about something blah 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 blah. It's natural, stupid, it looks unprofessional, and it's uncomfortable for you. Uncomfortable from the point of view of just production, how does it look from the point of view of professionalism, right? Well, it's just inconvenient, and from the point of view of time it's just stupid. Accordingly, you leave everything as it was. Well, if you need it naturally, you will do it all there in the right size. You just add a new scene with a plus sign right here in the scenes, just like you added new sources. Scene 2, a chat conversation, for example, there, or a full screen of a cap. It doesn't matter, it's not that important, it's for you too. Bam. Here you have the second scene. Again we see this damned Malevich square, a rectangle more precisely. And here it is very important now, if you are suddenly distracted, then now come back and watch. If you want to add to a new scene in a different location, but the same sources that you have on the previous scene, you can switch between them. Then when you add a source here, for example a video capture device, to add a VIP camera. Add not create a new one here you choose, but add an existing one. Because, for example, the same webcam cannot, in two guises, so to speak, stay in the OS. It always works as a single source, and you just won't be able to add. If you add a new one, then the webcam well will not be shown. The standard ones you use there, whatever you specify, you will not have a picture here. Well, you know what it is. Why is my cap not working? There probably need to turn off the cap, yes, but I don't know, it's not clear. Just a cap, for example, does not work like that. You add a video device to an existing one, and choose a camera. Here is a list of existing sources of this type. Choose a camera, and everything appears here. In other words, on this stage, you can do all these manipulations with red borders differently. That is, here you will have it like this, for example, on full screen. Here is also your image, for example, an existing image, image number 2. Op, this is my avatar. I'll do it like this. I really like it. This also saves your resources, and it is very correct to do it. If this source exists, there is no need to add it again. Of course, you can add a new picture, the same one, yes, but it's better to use the existing images. And then design them as you want. And now I have a scene like this. Let's say I still need my media source. The video that exists there is my amazing. I move the media source like this in general, so that my camera is not visible, so as not to duplicate my face. And I will throw it to the very bottom with arrows, so that it is on the background. Yeah, a little bit more evenly like that. That's it. Look, the engine is just going, creativity has gone. Let's say we talk like this chat, hello. We start streaming, but when we move to another scene, you switch here accordingly with the mouse or button. It's all in the settings if anything is being done. Go to Settings hotkeys, you find here unscrew the scene. It will be called as it is called here. That is the stage, go to the stage, let there be 1 on the numpad, and 2 on the stage. Scene to chat conversation, go to scene 2, that's it, apply, OK. Now we can use buttons 1 or 2 to navigate through these scenes. That's it. And at the moment we have a standard attenuation of 300 milliseconds. Here are the transitions between scenes. Here you choose exactly the same thing between these scenes when you go, what kind of animation will be. Standard in principle is quite enough. It will either fade out when it will smoothly transition everything. Op, 1 to push. Yeah, and here I set the duration in milliseconds. I put more, and it all became a little long. That's it. If some nuances seem obvious to you, then believe me, I am not just focusing on them, because I have met many times on my way. While I am running this channel, while I am practicing, I am being asked something. That's the problem when people really didn't understand, but how did you make such a TikTok-like camera out of such a camera? Is it that you turned her over or something? But it's funny, because it can be done like this. Alt pressed, that's it. Accordingly, you have untied hands. Where to place what? How to put it all together? In this corner, not in this corner. Maybe on the contrary, you like this camera so that it can be seen. That you have some kind of shelf with discs there in the back against the background. Or something else. All this is at your discretion. If you click Start Recording, then you will start recording everything that is happening here on the screen at the moment. If you go to the stage, this is recorded. If you go to another stage, that is recorded. Maybe you still need to add another scene. Here you will add some more screen capture. Here you will show the same abs, and here you have this amazing wallpaper. Here you are inspired. And look at some moon reflected in some icy lake in the mountains. It's amazing, just inspiration bursts over the edge. Perfect. Here you have some kind of mover in general. Some kind of nonsense actually happens here. I threw it. Well, okay, but here we have professionalism. There's not even a camera, though why isn't there a camera? We are adding a video capture device. The existing BAM camera. BAM. But now we need to do it in this corner, so that we look as if at the wall. That's it. It's very cool. Everything is amazing. To understand where our creativity will be located if we record it, go to Settings Output, and here is the recording point. And the recording path, we look at the video bitrate of the users, that is, all my recordings will be in this folder. Make sure that you have enough space there, because it is currently a C drive, maybe it is a system drive, maybe you need to change the place. As for the broadcast, here you accordingly connect to the service where you stream. I'm aiming at Twitch. Thank you very much, Tweet, for distracting me from recording the video. It's very interesting to me. Authentication is two-factor. Sometimes it makes me feel better, but it's safe. I logged in on Twitch, but in your case, it can be any service that is listed here. But even if you don't find it here, you can click the configurable one and keep the flow key that the site will provide you with. I said this already at the beginning of the video. In my case, it's Twitch. I click OK, and if I start broadcasting with this button, then the broadcast will go. Already on the answer site, I will change the name of the broadcast, some kind of game, or I will create a broadcast on YouTube. It's already being set up there. As for the abs, that's enough here. More experienced guys will say, but how? Because everyone should have different settings. There are different settings for YouTube, for Twitch, and so on, and so on, and so on. If you are a beginner, this will only frighten you, it will only create unnecessary difficulties for you. You will think that this is all you need to understand, you need to put a difficult advanced. And here are more settings, audio recording there and so on. All this needs to be changed, all this needs to be known. If you want to know, then I have a detailed video on the settings of the abs, also quite fresh, shot a few months ago. If you want to understand in depth, then welcome to the pop-up or the link in the description. I'll leave everything there in a pinned comment or in the description under the video. And it's also worth watching. In addition to this video, if you want to develop, you want to understand these settings in more depth. You also need to watch another video about lags, problems with the stream, and so on. Even if nothing has happened to you right now, nothing lags, disappears, freezes, the broadcast does not drop and so on. It does not end when you did not want it. Look at it anyway. These tips will help you avoid just problems in advance. You will know how to behave correctly in the abs, and how, under what problems, what to look at, so as not to get confused. So as not to feel helpless. These two videos are really yours as the Holy Grail. If you are seriously going to study these two videos, and calmly rid yourself of 90% of the problems. Create, start doing something, broadcast, record, shoot, whatever in a good way. But we haven't finished mastering the abs yet, we haven't talked about sound at all. And many people say that sound is even more important than the picture that we have so diligently set up here. Here we just have some incredible artistic ecstasy. The sound mixer is exactly the area that should capture our attention right now. You are most likely confused by this twitching sound from a media source, that is, from our video here, which for some reason we do not hear. Therefore, we will delete it for now, because we will talk about it a little later. This track remained from the camera, it is from our cap that we added. Most likely, you will not use sound from it, so we mute it, press these three buttons, and hide it, so that it simply does not confuse us. And slowly we're going to add the sounds we need now. There are two different ways to add sounds. You can add them through scenes, because this is the capture of the input audio stream, these are microphones. The capture of the output audio stream, these are computer sounds. You will use this item to add all the sounds on the computer that you hear and play, a clip on YouTube, music in some player, and so on and so on and so on. All this you hear will be here. But I recommend that you go to settings either with this button, or here with the button, go to audio. And there are global audio devices here. In other words, all audio devices that you specify here will work globally on all scenes. If you understand that on all stages you need, for example, a microphone, at least, yes. The sound of the game, that is, the sound of the game, the sound of the computer, it's all the same, then it's better to add it here. Because it's very unlikely that you won't need to use it on some stage. But although someone may need to make a stub scene where you can't be heard and so on, and so on, and so on. But it can be implemented in different ways. Now I'll show you everything. The sound of the desktop is just the same computer sounds, the sounds of the game. Everything that sounds on the computer will be exactly this desktop sound. Here you choose your device. It will be a device. To understand which to choose, you most likely may have several points here. Choose what your headphones or your speakers are connected to. If they are not connected to the back panel of the motherboard, just 3 and 5 males. Then it will most likely be something like Realtek and so on and so on. If you are connected to some kind of US microphone, most likely there will be the name of your US microphone with listening. To some third-party audio card, and so on. Select this device here. Then the microphones. Here you can choose up to 4 of them. You choose your microphone. It can be a VIP camera microphone, which I do not recommend using again, yes, but if there is nothing else. Then you can start with this. Or you choose this one here. This is my microphone, which you can hear at the moment, it's just being transmitted to another computer. There is one in this system too. I select it, click OK. 2 tracks appear. Here's the microphone already time. It's already working. The sound of the desktop is correspondingly empty, nothing happens, nothing jumps here, there is no sound. But if I turn on just some music on the next monitor, you see that everything jumped. And now again, if you are suddenly distracted, you need to understand how and with a sandwich on one topic. What jumps here is what the broadcast hears. It's not a copy of what you hear, because you can turn on the sound in the same way. We hear the mind at a certain volume of some kind, here it is playing in the background, it's fine for us. But for the audience we can turn it down. In general, he is somewhere out there already outside of this sensor, but here. That is, regardless of what we hear, we can add or decrease the volume to the audience, and they do not hear the same thing. Especially considering that the microphone most likely needs to be adjusted here in the OS, so that it is in the right ratio with some background music, with a game and so on. Now I'm going to show you a very basic setup that you can copy just to get started. In this case, I have quite good volume levels. If your microphone jumps like this when talking somewhere in the yellow area, then you can leave it like that. The only thing you need to do is click these 3 buttons opposite the microphone, 3 dots, click filters, click plus sign. Noise reduction, OK, it can also be called, but it doesn't matter. And use this earn noise here. Then add a limiter, OK, and set the value to -1, just so that if anything, there is no overload. It's a technical thing, if you don't understand what's going on score. This is in case you initially have a microphone volume such that it is in yellow, it is in the yellow zone when talking and everything is fine. But if suddenly it's for some reason, well, let's say so, yes, we will emulate it. Of course, I removed it with a slider here, but let's say you have a microphone that's so quiet, it's not loud enough here. Then you are in the filters even before you added the limit, or just then you order, again change this sandwich order. You probably still add amplification here so that you don't mess up with compression. Because there you can turn it on a miracle if you don't understand what you're talking about. In some videos I've seen where compressor people add a ratio of 10:1. I'm like, then why are you writing this video, damn it? And this has often occurred to me during consultations. It looks like there is some kind of videos where there is a dude who adds a compressor and leaves this here 10:1 and is like, well, a terrific comrade. Do you even know what this ratio is? Well, okay, apparently there is such a video somewhere. We add amplification, put it in front of the limiter, that is, noise reduction, amplification. Let's go here and spin, plus until we have the volume as I said. But by the way, this is wrong now. Now I'm hammering right here in the limiter because I've reduced it here, and here I'm adding to the overload. In short, you understand the essence of what is happening, that you jumped here, but since I don't have to do it. That is, you don't need to adjust the volume here if you don't have 100 here. That is, I turn off the gain and do it like this. In other words, you are using this slider to make it look like I have here. Technically I did, because the wrong thing, just to show you what to achieve, so that you have a sound somewhere here. Accordingly, the sound of the computer, the sound of some basic game sounds, shots, maybe dialogues and so on, should be approximately at the level with you, that is, in the -20 area, maybe a little bit lower, right? You should check it at least once. To see. Or you will have abs on another screen, yes, and you will see what volume levels are currently being played. Or you just test write down by ear how you play the game, and you will understand whether you need to make the game quieter, whether you need to make the game louder, and so on. Most likely, you need to make the music a little quieter, if you are talking about background music. Then you set up in the player as you feel comfortable, and it can also be a little quieter for the stream. I recommend if you are here from -20 to -10, then let the music be around -40, somewhere here. No accuracy is required here, approximately the background music should be here. What am I saying this for? So that you understand immediately, first of all, that here what is shown is what the viewer hears, and not what you hear. Because maybe you can make yourself louder on some headphones, maybe you have a microphone set up so that it is really very quiet, and you will drown in the volume of the music. That's how it will be. Here, no matter what microphone you have, you just sync in volume, although nothing seems to have changed. You didn't lower your voice. It's just that here you need to ensure that the volume level is sufficient. Of course, I understand that this is a very basic sound setting, although volume levels are relatively one of the most important things. That you just didn't have this distortion when you can't be heard, the game is too loud and so on and so on and so on. Of course, in terms of processing, there is still a lot of possibilities here. In the same way as with the B's settings, about which there is a separate video on my channel, about the sound. I generally have a paid course on Boost, but it is needed only for those who have already tried everything, practiced, mastered the abs, and realized that they want to understand the sound a little better. How to process the sound from the microphone so that it is pleasant for the viewer, in more detail, how to use compression, how to use equalization. There too, I have explained in clear language all the most important things about working with sound. In other words, you essentially have to come there without knowledge, and save yourself the years that I spent there to do home sound recording. Some kind of stream practice, this and video creation, and so on and so on and so on, with my submission. There's a course there, it's a set of videos, it's not 4-hour lectures. If you want to dive into sound in depth, or rather not even in depth, but just very well understand what is going on in general, and somehow be able to process sound for your videos, for your recordings, for your courses and so on. Then you can watch the presentation of my course here on YouTube, or just go to Empty. I have reviews there, I post posts periodically. There is a cart, the guys respond there. So far, there are 0 negative reviews. There was 1 negative review actually, but 2 days later the dude realized that I wasn't the problem. And he also wrote that everything was fine. Therefore, a good course helps many people, everyone is happy. I suggest you, if you need it, then go ahead. But considering that most people watch this video, and you are newbies, first try it like this, just dance. Just understand if you like it, if you get the video, if you upload it, if you watch it and so on and so on and so on. Just look at the result. You don't need to drive money in there right away, you don't need to buy the best microphones. Try it first, then watch the video about the microphones on the channel, about the settings, see if everything is clear to you. Quietly study, and then if you realize that you need it, then welcome. There, my many years of experience with sound is one of my strongest expertise. That's where I really ate the dog, and I can help beginners get involved quickly, without spending years on it, which is important. Which is not important, what affects the result, what does not affect. Well, we return to the abs. Now we have scenes, everything seems to be fine, there are sounds. By the way, yes, since we added a media source here, I have it, it can also be silenced. Since we have added sound sources to the global audio devices, right here, they appear on every scene. All that you don't need is that we clean up accordingly. If suddenly you have added this sound source, and you want to hear it, Yes, first of all, you can adjust its volume so that it is, for example, somehow in the background there or something else. But you want to hear it, then you can do so. Go here to the advanced audio settings. These are the gears. You see the media source line here. And you don't hear it because you have listening disabled. That is, you just click listening and output. But there is a very tricky thing here. If you have desktop sounds output, as we did, then you only need to do listening and mute the output. Why? What happens when we click this? This source, this line here, will start listening to the audio on the device that is indicated here. And where is it? Listening device. Here. It is the default. Most likely, this is the same device that you chose here. Here is the desktop sound, because well, you will no longer have several headphones. Most likely one headphones or one speakers are connected to one device. You choose it here. Most likely it works absolutely fine by default. And here, in the advanced audio settings, you only enable listening.
It seems to be the last one.
Here. What's going on? I'm going to make it quieter now. What's going on? This source starts listening to the desktop sound on this device. And if we do an addition and output, that is, it means that this track will also be output to the stream, like the others. And not just listened to. Then it will be output here, and this track will be output. And because we are listening to it, it will sound to the sounds of the desktop. It will double, you will have some kind of echo, and this is also very common. People didn't understand why it was like I had an echo, as if the same thing sounds with a slight delay. Avoid it all. That is, if you want to hear, add desktop sound, and turn on listening only. And then if you put some kind of volume on, you can turn it down, you can turn it up. It all sounds, you hear it and the broadcast. But if anything, you can add microphones not in global devices to the settings, but just like that. Add capture of the input audio stream. Here you can see by the icon that this is a microphone. Add a microphone, name it in some way, and choose a device too. MICP. It's interesting to me, the line is this one. Op, all added. Here I have a wah-pa-pa-pa, this is also a microphone. You see it is duplicated. I have this global microphone, I added it again. Also, if you avoid having duplicated sources, because it will be some incomprehensible horses. You will not understand why you hear it twice with delays, it's all natural there. According to sound theory, it can be excluded. And you will literally have a buggy sound, you will not understand why it is being eaten there. In short, it's difficult, score. Either you always add everything in global devices, or you add the same microphone to each scene separately. But then maybe you will get lost. I do not recommend doing this and you will have filters. Well, in one scene you have a filter, the other one doesn't. Here then, in this case, do not get lost, add if anything, if you added some kind of microphone audio here. Let's say we added this microphone here again. If you add it to the stage, then by exactly the same principle as other sources, if there is an existing microphone, add an existing one. Add it exactly, capture the original audio stream that we added to another scene. Then the filters will remain. That is, we do not forget about it. Is there always some source we add to a new scene that exists on another scene? It's better to use it. So, at the moment, if you are only engaged in recording, for example, passing, just recording on your computer. Maybe you are recording some courses, yes, showing what you are doing on the screen. Anything, in general, you shoot there from a cap, perhaps as you sculpt pottery, there and comment on it, yes, write it down. Then mount it. Anything. You already have enough skills to record, but if you are a streamer, then in order for the gentleman's set of newcomers, so to speak, to be completed, we need to set up an alert about donations. That is, about donations of money, and about some subscriptions to our channels, they're on Twitch, on YouTube and so on. So, first of all, don't be afraid that something has changed. I'm recording it another day, because I didn't like how I dragged it out there. Although the video is so long, but I need to figure it out. You newbies deserve to be told in detail about everything. As for alerts, it is primarily the notification of subscriptions and so on. I recommend using the Stream Elements service. The interface of this site, in my opinion, is very intuitive. Sometimes if you go to the main page, it will be difficult for you to get where you need to go, even if you know where you need to go. But take it as an investment in the future, because if you figure it out and start hosting your alerts here, then in the future a lot of cool things are being done here. Here is my neat widget under the webcam, where subscribers change, subs, there who gave a subscription, then Zadnatil. Very neat, beautiful. This is done on this site with a custom widget. It's still difficult. We are only going to pass the initial level now, but if you do all this here, then it will be easy for you to get involved in some guides from YouTube, maybe English speaking, if you speak English. In general, let's not stay awake slyly. Click login, connect to the social network on which you will stream, Twitch it or YouTube. I'm behind Twitch, but it doesn't really matter. We get to a panel with various statistics, who subscribe there, even some subscriptions, donations, and so on. And so on and so on. I recommend that you bookmark this particular page right away so that you can go here right away. And not to the main page. Believe me, I will save you a billion nerves. Here we are interested in translation tools and then overlays. I have a bunch of overlays here. You won't have that, don't worry. These are my tests there and so on. I make alerts with different colors for different games there and so on. This is already a more advanced thing, so far you don't need it. Click the new overlay, choose a resolution. That's where you remember the canvas, right? Here you have the resolution of your canvas, your black rectangle of Malevich. Here, choose exactly this resolution. Most likely you will have it 1080 start. Here, instead of Malevich's rectangle, here is a rectangle marked with dots. This is, roughly speaking, your screen. What are you doing? You click the plus sign here, well, or an add a widget. Don't be afraid of English, guys, study it, it's okay, everything is fine. Plus allers, alert box. Then you place it where you want it to be on the screen approximately, well, most likely somehow like this, don't worry too much about it. And in fact, it is possible to finish this for beginners. This emulate button allows you to emulate events on a stream, for example, a Fallout on a Twitch. Yes, it's a Twitch subscription, that's what it's called. We press the button, now the dessert will appear. Here's Janice from No Full. There is already some beautiful animation. Of course, you can customize everything, fonts, colors, and so on. The picture of what you will get out. But if you don't want to yet, you cannot touch anything at all. But if anything, you click on this alert box, which we added, and here there is a list of events that will be shown here. And for each event, respectively, there will be a gear where you can configure it all. That is, if we look here, the name is the name of the person who subscribed from the now. This is our English. Subscribe to the channel. Yes, that's what we did. Now we have done it like this, we are also emulating it. Here. Mini subscribe to the channel. Did I change the font there or something? In general, you understand. You can play around here. If you suddenly logged into YouTube, then you will have a slightly different list here. In other words, you only have a regular subscriber there. You have a super chat there. There is even if there are purchases via YouTube. There are some of these services, subscriptions, sponsors, and so on. All of this can be configured there if you log in with another account, IDS YouTube. What do we do next? Then we click this button copy overlay, that is, we copy the link and go to the apps. We are adding a new source to the OS, this will already be our browser. We add it, we call it naturally somehow alerts blah blah blah. The notification is if anything in Russian. Here, in the URL address, we click insert, and just the same link that we copied, we make the width. The resolution is more precisely 1920 by 1080, well, this is how we did it, yes. The size of the canvas. Noticed, right? I was making a 1:2 now, my scenes were changing, because we set up hotkeys. Don't touch anything else. Put it like that, okay. We have a new source. It's transparent, it's empty, but if someone subscribes to us, some other event happens on the stream, which is ticked there. Then it will be displayed here. By the way, I forgot to say that, first of all, you can rename it. It will be alerts, yes, here, and you need to click the save to make it all start working. And if you make any changes here on the site, so that they start working in your OS, you need to save this overlay. Here are the alerts working, where we place them on the Stream Elements website, everything is fine. If you want to change fonts, colors, and so on for yourself there, this is all to help. Any animations, GIFs can be uploaded there. It's not difficult to figure out the interface there, but if it's suddenly difficult for you, then just don't change anything. It's a pretty nice design and so on. And now I think you understand why I once focused on this sandwich principle of sources. Because alerts are essentially, but it's an empty square, yes, it's an empty rectangle. You can safely take it and accidentally leave it there behind the camera, behind all the sources, you seem to have them. And if suddenly someone subscribes to you, nothing appeared. It's actually there. There's a subscription to the channel, but there's a picture in front of it, a picture you know. And you have to keep in mind what sources you should have at the top. Especially if you add something new in the future and forget the old sources, because every new source, if we add it, some kind of image, it doesn't matter there, even empty, it always remains at the top, so don't get lost here and if anything. Then change the order of the layers so that everything is shown to you as you planned. As for accepting donations, this is when someone throws money off to you, there is no obvious choice here. Because in some countries, the withdrawal does not work on some services, somewhere something is blocked. There is a tribute alerty, there is a danop, there is a donati, there is a streaments, for which there is a payment card. Most likely, it will work well outside of Russia, but it can also work with Donate Pay, which works fine with Russia. That is, there are many options. I'll tell you the gist of how it works, what you need to understand. I will show everything using the example of Danishin alerts. Again, the most basic setting only. If there is something to change some fonts to make it more beautiful, colors and so on. This is all possible later. Here we go to the widgets, alerts section, and most likely you also have a group with a default variation at the beginning. We just take the embed link, we copy it here, we don't show it to anyone, I won't show it either, I'll just copy it with an icon. And we are also adding another browser to the abs. These will already be donations. Here you can leave the width, height as well. Here we insert this link. Okay. This source is no longer full screen, we can move it right around as we want. In fact, it is not possible to create full screen sources in streams, it's just that I explained to you how it was easier there. We put it somewhere here too, and you can run a test alert on the site. This is how it is done. This orange variation by default is exactly the same donates of Danishin alerts of this site. Click on this gear to make a test alert. The message. Here is such an alertic. If someone sends you 475 rubles and some kind of message, it will still be read. Everything is amazing, everything is great. But where can I send you this donation? Where to actually pay, where to put the money? On all such services, this is called a donation page. In other words, this is the same page, here it is the main link where a person goes and there will be a beautiful form to support you. Enter the amount there, keep messages and so on. Everything will happen there. You can also design this page somehow, name the background there. Specify the color of the buttons more precisely, and so on and so on and so on. You put this link, respectively, you copy it here, you put this link under the stream in your description. Or there, if this is a Twitch, that you can make a picture that you can click on and there you will get to this page of donations. A person will see something like this, that is, he can literally name it at his moment. Sandwich, by the way, I probably donated the bitrate to someone under this nickname, if there are any presets of the amounts even. But as I understand it, I can conduct any amount myself. It would certainly be nice if I had the opportunity to throw 200 lamb to someone. You send it, there are even some voiceovers here, blah blah blah, but everything will be a little different for each service here. But it's definitely not difficult, you'll figure it out. But what exactly is this browser? In fact, you add a browser page to your abs, that is, the same page on the internet. You can just write Google.com here instead of these donations. Here you are, here it is Google. That is, in fact, it's just a page, but we naturally add our own page here, with some strange link. You just have notification services that essentially provide you with a unique page, where they display messages specifically about what is happening on your stream. In other words, it is essentially just a browser page. Earlier, in bearded times, we opened it all in a regular browser, captured it with a window, yes. What I said at the beginning of the video. Then we removed the green background, using the chroma key filter, which is a completely different story. But I want you to understand what kind of source it is in general, and why donations are made through it. This is now conveniently done, you have configured it once, and that's it, no problems. And now we will always have alerts. Beauty? Real subscribed to the channel. Wonderful. Naturally, I'm not showing you any advanced settings here, for beginners it's just not necessary. Perhaps in future videos, I will talk about how to make some advanced widgets in Stream Elements, how it all works. And you just know this base, you will navigate perfectly on my channel. I hope I managed to convey all the necessary information for beginners in an accessible form, for the very beginning, for the start. To take the first steps in this world of streaming, in the world of OBS. If the video turned out to be useful for you, do not forget to like it, promote the video so that others will come across it. And so that they start their journey into this brave new world with this video. Write comments about what you do, why you decided to use the abs, then you are you engaged in what specific action you will control in this Malevich's square rectangles, what will happen there for you? I have a section for streamers in my Discord where you can ask your questions. Again, a disclaimer, as in other videos, no one owes you anything there is a separate section for streamers, read the rules. Ordinary guys advise there, just maybe more experienced. You can ask, they don't charge money for demand, as they say. Fly in, be part of the community, it's not a problem. Naturally, we don't like lazy dummies there, but don't be afraid. Right, ask. Believe me, there is a big difference between a lazy person and really some kind of fool. And just a person who does not understand something. It's okay not to understand something, it's okay to ask. It's just, well, people do it in different ways. I have already had some trauma from this for several years of running this channel. So these are the disclaimers I have to say. Well, especially for you, if you are a beginner and have come to this channel for the first time. I will make a separate playlist with videos specifically on abs, on various little things, chips and so on. I have a lot of useful videos, there are also old ones, but still relevant and useful. Just the same, in order to further develop in the possession of this program, a separate playlist. Because the videos are for streamers, I also have some chatty, more philosophical ones there, about this sphere. About how you need to keep your way there, and so on. Who likes to listen to my chatter, there is also a video about streamers, but I will make a separate playlist. The playlist is technical. I think that it will be useful for beginners just the same. Along with this video about the abs settings in more detail, about lags and so on. Everything will be there, so take a look too, if you want to continue to be educated in this area. If you are going to do this seriously. Thank you all for watching so far, and have a good stream.